and I buy my eggs from the chickens I can see in front of me. I know exactly where they've come from. The only caveat canvassing for a vegan lifestyle is I think you also have to canvass for a healthy, balanced diet.
But it shouldn't be the reason why we go vegan for health. And I'll give you an example why. I could say that I'm going to stop punching my wife because it hurts my hand.
Is it really cheese?
It's vegan cheese. For a cow to produce milk, do you know what has to happen to her? Do you even know why cows produce milk? I've asked a really bad time as you start eating cheese, haven't I? I start asking you a load of questions.
No, but I feel like you're about to tell us, so I'm interested.
Would it shock you to know that a cow only produces milk because she's a mum? Yeah, the man was right. So just like human women, they'll only produce milk once they're pregnant. Who do you reckon that milk is intended for?
They're calves.
They're calves.
Yeah.
But what do you reckon happens to that milk?
It's siphoned off.
So we take it from them. What do you think happens to the calves?
Well, they're probably slaughtered. Yeah.
So if they're male, they slaughter them because males don't produce milk. If they're female, they get taken away and they get put into an isolation hutch for around 8 weeks, and then they'll start to sort of join the back of that herd and that dairy line once they're sexually mature at about the age of 1. What do you reckon the average age of a cow should be?
50.
About 25 to 27. Do you know what the average slaughter age of a dairy cow would be?
2 months.
About 5. About 5 years old.
Yeah.
So something that we've sort of been conditioned to believe is like an innocent byproduct actually begins with rape, it then followed up by kidnap, and then finishes in murder for having a product that was never in like ours in the
So
first
if you
place.
removed milk from the situation,
Yes.
so you take out the small local businesses, the dairy farmers.
Yeah.
So, and this is just playing devil's advocate.
Go for it.
They
Oh,
lose
yeah,
their,
please
they,
do.
they lose their jobs,
Yeah.
and then obviously the cows are never born in the first place because there's no need, and then we eat nutty cheese. Is that the solution?
So yeah, all the farmers can diversify their farms. So farmers only farm like the demand. So if we can change the demand, then the farmers will change their farming systems. So a lot of dairy farmers, for example, can go on and then grow oat crops and produce oat milk. So they can still keep their jobs. And you're exactly right in the fact that we wouldn't be breeding these animals into existence to exploit them and murder them. So the animal exploitation would be removed, and then we'd still have oats and dairy products. Dairy products with things like oats or soy or rice or these other things. What do you reckon of that system? Would that be a change you'd support?
Well, I already prefer oat milk anyways, but that's just a taste choice.
That's a taste choice. What about the ethical side of it?
I've got no opinion on it. I mean, I'm all for obviously alternatives, but if there's a more sustainable way of doing it, sure.
What about if we take sustainability out of it? What about the ethics of the kidnap, the rape, the murder? Would that be something you'd want to support, or would that be a good enough reason for you to stop buying dairy products?
Difficult when I.
What if we replace cows and put humans in there, like human women?
Farms that are wealthy.
Well, that's different, isn't it?
What's different?
Because I'm not worried about a cow the same way that I'm worried about a human.
Why not?
So I relate more to a human than I do a cow.
Just because you relate more to one, does it mean that there's a moral difference between the two?
Not 100%, no. I don't disagree on that.
So I grew up next to a small farm,
Yes.
and the farmer, and I can only speak from my personal experience, right?
Yeah.
The farmer I know took care of his cattle very well.
Yeah, I'm sure. Everyone knows a really nice farmer, right? And everyone knows the story that the farm's like the generic happy farm, the propaganda we've been taught as we grow up.
Yeah.
It's irrelevant when it comes to the slaughterhouse, right? Because a cow can have the best life ever, but they're going to end up in a slaughterhouse.
Well, that also obviously then going further than cheese, you're taking meat out of the equation as well.
100%.
It's, I assume, what we're talking about.
100%. Yeah. So today our outreach is revolving around the dairy industry, but you're 100% right.
Yeah.
The veganism would be the lifestyle that would align with a moral ethical code where you're trying to reduce as far as practically possible the harm you cause.
So the only caveat to canvassing for a vegan lifestyle is I think you also have to canvass for a healthy, balanced diet. Because a lot of people may try going vegan, but not know how to do it properly and malnourish themselves.
Of course. So yeah, people, you got to do your research, right? When you go vegan, you got to do your research. And there's healthy and non-healthy diets of all stages. So you can have a non-vegan diet that's unhealthy, and you can have a vegan diet that's unhealthy. But when you go vegan, you work these things out, right? There's loads of resources now, like Challenge 22. You got websites like nutritionfacts.org. You can work out where to get proteins, carbs, and fats. We have things like Chronometer, where you can track what you're eating just to make sure that you're covering enough micronutrients and macronutrients. So yeah, you're 100% right. When you go vegan, you definitely should look into what you're eating. But it shouldn't be the reason why we go vegan for health. And I'll give you an example why. I could say that I'm going to stop punching my wife because it hurts my hand. If I look at it,
That you could use that analogy.
did you see the analogy? Did you see the similarities between the two? Because there's a victim, when in a non-vegan's choices, there's a victim, whether it be a dairy cow, whether it be a pig in a gas chamber or a chicken in a gas chamber, there's a victim. So we must advocate for the change because there's a victim on the end of it, not the fact that it's a benefit for us to be vegan, we can be healthy, it's better for the environment. These are all things that are benefits, and it's great that they're benefits, but it shouldn't be our catalyst to change.
No, you are right.
An extra reason to help the change, surely.
I mean, it's a benefit of the change, right? It's
So
a benefit. But what I would say is,
let's think necessarily if you're encouraging that healthier lifestyle to improve, obviously, the ethics then too.
of course, but we can't leverage from that point. Another reason would being, if I said to you, let's say we pick an environmental issue and we say that it's better for the environment if you're vegan. If you then found a way of providing a non-vegan diet that was equally as good for the environment, you could say it's okay to now be not vegan. Do you see what I'm saying?
That, though.
No one's saying it.
That's the part.
No one's saying it, but that could be a result as of advocating for veganism through environment or health.
Like you said, though, even if someone can find a non-veganism method, you're still then pushing the ethics side of it. So there's still encouragement to stay vegan in that environment there too.
Because veganism is an ethical position. So people get confused with veganism being a health or environmental position. So vegan is an ethical position. It's not a diet and it's not an environmental position. It's purely ethics. Plant-based would be for the environment or for health. That's the difference between plant-based and veganism.
Okay.
Where do you guys stand on like animals being exploited and murdered for taste pleasure, or let's say dog fighting, fox hunting, zoos, animal testing?
I think dog hunting is very wrong.
Yeah,
Dog fighting is
right.
yeah. For sport, that's
Yeah.
I think rightly or wrongly, farmers that have livestock, chickens for example, they have a right to protect their chickens against whatever.
If it was easier to, I think it'd be better if it was easier to buy free range in that sense, because then they've at least given some more, like ethically speaking, like you're saying today, they've been given a bit more of what their wildlife freedoms would have been.
But
I appreciate like
I could say that it's
because I do like meat, and I try and eat a bit more vegetarian and a bit more vegan when I can.
Don't forget, vegetarians still abuse animals, vegetarians
Appreciate that.
And if we look at it from a welfare position, that's like saying, yeah, it's worse for me to torture you and then murder you, but it's still bad for me to murder you. So we need to eradicate the murder at the end. So there's always like a better or worse way to exploit someone. But the fact is that we just shouldn't be exploiting them in the first place.
So there would be what I've always struggled with that argument, right? Is there is no life at all if there's no reason for them. Like the farmers don't keep them for fun.
Farmers do it for a profit, right? The farmers are doing it for a living.
Yeah.
So the farmers can diversify their farms and make, in fact, Viva Farming will go to these farms and they help farmers to diversify. On average, they're making like 20 grand a year more. So it's actually beneficial for farmers to change. But when you look at it from the ethical point of view, they should change from ethics anyway,
How
right?
easy is it for a farmer to change, though?
Depending on the farm and but that's why Viva there will give them the support.
So they offer the support, do you?
Yeah. Start to finish
Financial backing
support.
and stuff like that as well.
Yeah, they support them the whole way through to change. And so many farmers have changed. And now they're advocating for other farmers to change. Because farmers also don't like doing what they do, right? It's quite a high suicide rate in farmers too. Because obviously having to send off animals every week to be slaughtered, it's not a nice thing, right? But when we look at the victim, we always have to refocus on the victim. Because the real victim is the animals that's exploited for meat, eggs, dairy, fish, leather, wool.
How long have you been vegan for?
I've been vegan for 3 years.
Okay.
It was the dairy industry that turned me vegan.
And yeah, what kind of encouraged the change?
So for me, I was watching a really awesome activist called Joey Carbstrong, and he was talking to someone like I'm talking to you guys about the dairy industry, and I was like, this guy's making some serious sense. The points were valid. I was like, yeah, I could see where he's coming from. And then they flashed up on screen slaughterhouse footage of a black and white dairy cow having her throat slashed open, and I realised I was the reason that she was in that position. And when you realise animals are as sentient as we are, and we always focus on what's different between us and animals, but if we focus on what's similar, they're sentient, they have the ability to experience, they feel pain, they have emotions. I'm thinking, why am I paying for a sentient being to be put into that position when I don't need to? I can live a kinder life. I've been lied to my whole life. I've been told that happy cows produce happy milk, happy eggs, the happy farmer.
I don't think we have been lied to. It's just been that that's sort of been omitted, and we've been told that that's not important to us. Which I think is the more the issue there is.
We have been massively lied to. When you look at packaging, right? Happy eggs. Do you know much about the egg industry? So we're packaged happy eggs or free-range eggs or like cage-free eggs. I mean, we're told it's a good thing to be free-range, right? You even brought out free-range and organic. Free-range and organic is just a ploy to the consumer to make you feel better about what you're paying for.
But
Free-range means
it depends where you buy your eggs from. Because I walk across the road to the farm, because I come from the countryside, and I buy my eggs from the chickens I can see in front of me. I know exactly where they've come from.
Yeah, but all these chicken farms start from hatcheries. Do you guys know about hatcheries?
Again, I see the chickens when they're young and when they're old, and the eggs they lay.
Where are the male chickens?
They've got cockerels.
How many?
Well, a couple.
They probably have enough to then breed the others, but they don't keep the males because the males don't produce eggs, so they're a waste product. Males, within the first day of their life, are either put into a macerator, which is an open blender, or they get put into a big bag and then they tie the sack up and suffocate them. Egg-laying hens have been selectively bred to lay 300 eggs a year. They should only lay around 12 to 15 naturally in the wild. The drain on their bodies of nutrients and calcium means that they'll probably have a heart attack and die at around the age of 2. And most egg-laying hens are spent at around 18 months anyway and are sent to slaughter.
Is this free range or?
Free range. The same place where you go to, they will send them to slaughter when their egg laying starts to slow down.
You were saying about that naturally hens should only lay 12 eggs.
12 to 15 eggs a year, yeah, like a period.
Okay, like 12, 15, okay. I was going to say, like, if there's only 12 to 15 on a turn, I was like, that's a bit weird. I had chickens when I came up, so...
No. 12 to 15. Yeah. 12 to 15 a year, like a natural period.
Yeah.
But even in the situation where you are, they will still be exploited to that extent, and when their egg laying starts to decline, they're sent to slaughter and then they're replaced. Because it's a business, right?
Is the solution to cull all of them tomorrow, or let them live out their lives, and then simply to have no more chickens in the world?
Yeah, 100%.
So no life is better than a half-life.
Yeah, because that life is exploitation, use as a commodity, and ending in murder. Have you guys ever seen slaughterhouse footage? Have you ever seen inside slaughterhouses?
I've watched all the Netflix documentaries that you could ask.
You've seen them all? Have you seen Dominion?
No.
Dominion is a really good documentary to watch, and I really urge you to watch it.
On Netflix Prime.
It's on YouTube. It will explain everything that I'm talking to you guys about and a lot more. And if your morals are the same as mine and you just want to live a kinder lifestyle, you wouldn't believe how much murder, exploitation and death we pay for without really even knowing about it or looking at it.
Final thing.
Yeah.
If we could leave one takeaway that you've given us, what is that?
I would leave you with the fact that animals are here with us, not for us. So check out Dominion on YouTube and really see the truth behind what this propaganda and industries are showing you. And if you have got that ethics and the compassion that I have too, then veganism is a moral baseline. It's the starting point. It's the least we can do is not contribute towards animals' exploitation, murder and suffering.
Noted. Anyway, it's been very interesting.
Thank you so much. Take this with you as well. It's a little bit of a pamphlet on what we're doing today, but the main thing is check out Dominion on YouTube.
Sure.
Nice to meet you, mate. My name's Steve.
Thank you, Steve.
Nice to meet you guys. Have a good day.
You too.
Thanks, mate.